Hello and welcome to the Drumheads podcast, where we chat music, drums, and the rhythm of life. Please remember to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And now, here's the show.
Sorry about that. It's a new platform I'm using, so not very familiar with it myself. So, what are you doing right now? Are you on tour with anybody? Or are you?
No, not right now. I'm home. Yeah, I'm in my little rehearsal studio right now.
Oh, okay. You got anything coming up, or?
Oh yeah, man. I'm about to get really summer busy. So,
who are you? Are you going out on the road? Who are you going with?
Yeah, with Horton Heat. We leave on Thursday, fly to Miami. We're on Little Steven Van Zant's Underground Garage cruise.
Yeah.
So we got there, Social D and that.
Yeah, a friend of mine, Jesse Dayton, plays on that quite a bit.
Oh yeah, I know Jesse.
Yeah, do you? Yeah. I've been bugging him for years, decades now. Because I grew up actually in Baytown, outside of Houston.
Right.
And he's from Beaumont, so we kind of have that East Texas thing going on, I guess. So
yeah, my dad was from the Houston area too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we moved out there from Florida. My dad worked at NASA, so we moved out from Florida, Cape Canaveral, and then moved out there when I was little. So then I grew up there, and out in Birmingham now. So, but anyway, yeah, man, thanks for doing this. I appreciate it. I know it's kind of short notice, but yeah, I wanted to get you on and just talk about playing and equipment and how you got started and all that sort of stuff. So and the thing is like with the Rev, he's played here a couple times. Have you played here in Birmingham?
Oh yeah.
Who'd you play? Was it with Phoenix or was it with Rev?
With Rev.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I remember one of the shows was at 5 Points Music Hall. This was a long time ago. Were you with them back then?
No, that one doesn't sound familiar.
Okay. I think this was back. Sorry, I don't know the timeline of the drummers. I just know you being with them. So, but yeah, I've seen them, play here a couple different times. So, but yeah, I mean, if you don't mind, we can go ahead and get started. I'm away from work, and I'm jabbering, and we just chat or whatever. So it's not like a structured thing. I don't go by the book and stuff. Just kind of free flow with everything. So. And at the end of the show, if you don't mind, if you just stick around for a little bit to help it close out, before you just like click off, it's got to do its thing to kind of save everything. So I'll wrap up and then we can, close out. So anyway, all right, Jonathan Jeter joins us. Where are you, Jay? You in the studio, looks like.
Yep, I'm here in Dallas, Texas, in my rehearsal studio.
The throbbing metropolis known as Dallas. So. You are you in rehearsals with anything, or what are you up to right now?
Right now, Horton Heat is kind of my day job, so to speak. But I have another band that I play guitar and sing in as well. Jonathan Jeter and the Revelators. So we're kind of wrapping up a record with that right now, and then Horton Heat just started recording a new record. So
okay, that's cool.
We're 3 songs into that thing, and so probably about 9 more to go. But doing that, and then we've got a cruise coming up this week, and then big tour starts at the end of May. So,
how long is the cruise? Is it a week or is it 3 days? What is it?
4 days. Yeah, we'll play 3 times in 4 days.
Oh, okay. Is there? I've always wanted to do that cruise. I don't think I'd like a cruise, but I'd like to do that cruise just because of the bands. But do you guys do like a jam thing at the end? Like everybody gets together and do some jams? Or?
I'm not going to rule that out as happening, but there's been no talks of that just yet. But I mean, we got a bunch of friends on the boat. The Super Suckers are going to be on there.
Yeah, Eddie.
Deke Dickerson. It's a bunch of buddies of ours are going to be on there. So I'm not going to rule out a big jam, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, stranger things could happen with that bunch. So, well, get back to you, like you're playing. How did you? What started it all off for you? Who was your influences? Were you on the drum line? Anything like that?
Yeah, I was on the drum line, but like it all started with Nirvana for me. Oddly enough, I just that the Nevermind record came out, and I was completely blown away by the drum tones on that. Dave Grohl just absolutely slayed that record, and
Yeah.
so I would kind of play along on pillows or whatever. Like I got some sticks and kind of taught myself how to play that way. But I never really wanted to be a drummer. Like I was a guitar player, and so for the timeline goes, like I was 12, and that Christmas I got an electric guitar, and pretty much everybody in Greenville, Texas, did as well. So, started playing after Christmas, and then my birthday is in May, and so for my birthday that same year, I got a drum set because if I wanted to play in a band, like there was way too many guitar players and no drummers. So it's like, well, I'm either gonna have to play drums or bass. I'm definitely not gonna be a bass player. So got a drum kit and kind of was self-taught, playing along to punk rock records and stuff. And then in high school, I did join the drum line, but really more so like to play in jazz band. I was more into doing that than marching.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Did you? Did you do that pretty regularly in high school? Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
I think you can learn a lot from jazz. People kind of blow it off sometimes, but I like to tell a story. I've got a friend of mine I went to high school with, and we used to make fun of him in high school. Funny enough, for being in an orchestra, he was a fiddle player, and we used to kind of make fun of him, kind of tease him a little bit. But he's been playing with Ricky Skaggs for decades now. And Kevin was the sort of guy you could just put, you could tie a string around a broomstick handle and he'd play it. He could get a tone out of it, that sort of thing. Anything stringed, And looking back, I wish I had done that route. I had gone into band, but of course I was too cool, to do that sort of thing at the time. And I'm like you, I'm self-taught. So, but yeah, looking back, I wish I had done that. Did you march at all, or did you do any of that sort of stuff, or was it just all jazz band?
In Greenville, where I grew up, you had to do both. So, like to be in jazz band, you had to march.
Oh, okay.
So, so I did that. Yeah, I played. I guess first year I played bass drum, and then I was a snare drummer after that.
Oh, okay. What kind of drum kit was your first kit?
Pearl Export, man.
There you
Pearl
go.
Export. Hey. The shittiest cymbals that I could find. I think they were all secondhand, like ZBTs or something. When that just come out, I think that line.
Yeah, I used to work at at H&H Music, and it was Brooke Mays up there in Dallas.
Yeah,
we used to sell the shit out of those Pearl Exports. Had those and Sabians, the old B8 series, I think.
I had some of those.
Yeah, we used to always do the whole package deal. Parents would come in, begrudgingly buy a drum set, for their kid. The kid, like you, wanted to be, the next Dave Grohl or whoever, So, yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah, so, it's kind of even from them playing like the shittiest Zildjian cymbals, I'm still a Zildjian guy to this day. Like,
oh, really?
They pass on me as an endorser, but I'm still going to keep playing it.
That's funny. Yeah, I was a big Paiste guy because all of my favorite drummers played Paistes.
Sure. 2002s.
Yeah, 2002s and signatures, and I actually ran some alphas for a while. I actually liked the alpha line, but I just when it comes to that sort of stuff, it's funny how as you mature in your playing, you start finding these tones that you like.
Yeah,
and you get away from just I got a cymbal. It becomes a it's a tone. It's a separate instrument.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've said this before on here is that I had a drummer friend of mine used to tell me that a drum set is completely different. It's all different instruments and they all come together. So, each one is allowed to have its different sound or, you can, your snare is going to be different than your tom and, so on and so forth. So, but so did you do both? Were you playing your drum kit and guitar, or were you kind of favoring one or the other?
Yeah, never really stopped doing that. Like, always played both of them, Um, and I mean, still to this day, I mean, I play a lot of guitar, still. Uh, yeah, I never wanted to be I didn't ever want to be pigeonholed, like as a, and I get asked this question all the time. So do you think you're more of a drummer or a guitar player? And I don't like that question really. I'm like, no, I'm just more of I'm a musician. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to say like one thing is more than the other, but, drums pays the bills right now, but, I still enjoy playing guitar. I last couple of years I've got into building guitars.
Oh, have you really?
Yeah. I've built a couple now. I'm about to start my third one.
Are you shaping the body and everything, or are you buying blanks?
Buying parts and putting them all together.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm a Telecaster guy, but I build them with one, like an Esquire style with one humbucker. So
it's
less junior, but in a Telecaster body.
Yeah. I did that during the pandemic. I was buying guitars from wherever I could find, just really dirt cheap if they were in lousy condition. I'd fix them up, and there's a local luthier here. I would take them over and he'd finish them out for me, and double check the electronics and stuff. And then I would just flip them. But yeah, I really enjoyed doing that sort of stuff. I think it's a drummer thing to like fidget with stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like the mechanical side of stuff, we're always like tweaking something.
Sure. I mean, it goes back to, you were in school and you never stop tapping on your desk and shit and get in trouble with the teacher.
Yeah, I still do that. It drives my girlfriend crazy.
Oh yeah.
She'll reach over and like I'll do it in the car and she'll reach over and like grab my hand, like stop, just stop,
Oh yeah, man. You turn on the blinker, it's like a click track. You got to play with it.
I never thought about that. That's funny. I need to do that. Oh my God, I would drive her insane. Have you seen those crashes that you can put in your car now? They attach to the air vent. And it's like a little small, it looks like a splash, but it's got like a mount, and it just goes where your air vent is, so you can just, go over there and do your fills and then hit your crash and that sort of thing.
I know I've got to have that.
So I had a friend of mine actually used to work at Pearl, and he would buy the cheapest Honda he could find for like $3,000 and just drive it till it fell apart. But he would glue. I know this isn't safe, but he would glue a practice pad on the front of his steering wheel, and he carried drumsticks with him everywhere. So if he come into any sort of traffic that's like at a stop, he would get his drumsticks out and start doing rudiments.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, again, it's not safe, because of the airbag. But, you wouldn't want a practice pad coming at you.
Yeah.
So, well, like the guitar and stuff, you said you didn't like being asked a question, so I'm gonna ask it maybe a different way. Do you think, or do you feel like that they influence each other? Like your drumming has made you a better guitar player. Has your guitar playing made you a better drummer? Do they fit in the middle somewhere?
Absolutely. Yeah, man. Being a guitar player is heavily influenced my drumming, I mean, and to play with a guy like Jim Heath, I mean, he's a guitar wizard, and
absolutely.
So like, being a guitar player, it kind of gives me like a little bit of like where to be tasteful in my drumming, like where I can stay out of his way. You know what I mean? So like, I don't want to say dumb it down a little bit, but kind of sit back and let him carry the song rather than, this would be a great place for me to put some crazy fill to show off, but it's not really my place to show off. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I mean, they've always been a guitar band. They've always been, that kind of thing, that kind of guitar driven band. And I think that's the basis of, rockabilly or psychobilly, whatever you want to call it, that he's played for years.
There's been monster drummers in this band, and like it was massive shoes to fill. When I got the gig, but it was kind of a situation where I was like, okay, I'm gonna kind of approach this a little bit differently, and like I'm not gonna play the exact same thing that's on the record. I'm gonna kind of do it my own way, but I'm gonna kind of step back a little bit and let him do the thing. Like I'm just gonna hold it down and keep time, or like peacefully, sit in the pocket.
Have you found that your drumming, since you've been playing with Rev, you think it's improved, maybe even further because of
Oh,
that?
yeah, I think so. Yeah, because I mean, he's such a vast songwriter, man. I mean, it's we might do. There's country songs, there's punk rock songs, there's straight ahead rockabilly songs, there's waltzes in there. I mean, it kind of takes me out of my comfort zone of like, just fucking playing fast cut time punk rock into, okay, well now I'm going to figure out how to sit in this pocket where I not necessarily am super well versed in, but I'm going to find my way in it. So yeah, I think it's definitely pushed me to be a better drummer for sure.
Do you, if people aren't familiar with Reverend Horton Heat, three-piece rockabilly, psychobilly, whatever you want to call it, Jimbo, upright bass player, do you feel like you're playing with like a click track with him, or do you use a click track, or is it a combination of the two when you guys play live?
We don't play with a click track at all, like not even in the studio. So, because in Jim's writing, he likes that push and pull kind of thing, a song may be maybe about 135 BPM for the verses, but he might push it, if you were to like tap it out, it might push in the chorus to like 140 or something like that, and then fall back.
Okay.
It's a lot of like push and pull in that situation.
Yeah.
Jimbo and I, we get really locked in together. I mean, it's to a point where we don't even really listen to, or don't even look at each other on stage. It's just there. It's one of those things that comes with playing with people for
right. How long have you been with the Rev?
I've been playing with them now for about 5 years.
Oh, okay.
But
plenty of time.
Yeah, I was his guitar tech and tour manager for about 5 years before that, though. So I've been traveling with them for a better part of a decade now.
Okay, I was going to ask you because I talked to a friend of mine the other day about being in the right place at the right time. So there wasn't like an audition process or anything for this, or they just slotted you right in.
Yeah, it was. It was during the pandemic, and we had Sturgis coming up, and the previous drummer didn't want to do it. And so Jim called me, and I'll never forget it. It was on a Thursday, and the gig was on Saturday. So he calls me on Thursday. It's probably around lunchtime, and we're talking logistics, flight stuff. And and then at the end of the conversation, he was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, RJ's not going to do this gig on Saturday. You're going to play drums. Rehearsal at 11 o'clock in the morning." Oh, okay.
Wow.
Rehearsal the next day, worked on 22 songs, I think, and then flew up to Sturgis on Saturday and did the thing. I haven't yet, so I think it's going okay.
I was fortunate enough to play with a stand-up bass player. We were trying to get a little rockabilly thing going here, and I've always loved rockabilly, going back, Stray Cats or so. But yeah, man, it was I really liked playing it because you could let him do his work. You could let the guitar player do your work, and you're basically just almost like a timekeeper. Because you're letting the other stuff happen out front. Yeah. Especially someone like Jim Heath, who's just a very accomplished, amazing guitar player.
Yeah.
Taking away this type of music he plays, but the guy is unbelievable.
He wows me every day, dude. Like it's and the thing about Reverend Horton Heat, growing up in Dallas, them being a Dallas band, I probably saw my first Rev show in about 95 or 96, and never in my wildest dreams did I think I would be in the band at some point. But they were the band that I had probably seen the most times before I started working for them. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's a crazy transition to now get up on stage with them every night.
How did you guys connect? How did you get connected with them, or was this to a friend of a friend sort of thing, or?
I've been doing tech work, like guitar tech, tour manager stuff for a pretty long time, and I had been out with a band called Seven Dust for about a year and a half, like working for them. And that tour cycle had ended, and I was sitting at home, and I had another tour lined up with another band that I didn't really want to do. And I got a rando call from LA, and it was Rev's manager, and he was like, "Hey, do you have any interest in going to work for Rev Horton?" And I was like, "Well, when are we leaving?" So later that week, I went and met Jim, and kind of made sure we all clicked together, and I think we left on a tour the next week.
Oh wow!
So yeah. So I was his tech for like I said, for about 5 years before I started playing with them.
That's cool. I mean, I like hearing stories like that where it just kind of happens. There's not a lot of pomp or circumstance around it.
Yeah, it was really like we need this to happen right now. Can you do it? Yep,
right.
I can.
Yeah. See you next. I'll be there next week, sort of thing. With your band, what is the style? What are you trying to accomplish there? Not knocking it, just saying, just asking. What do you hope to do? Is it an outlet for you, or?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a songwriter, and so I need, I gotta scratch that itch when I can. It's not, they're not songs that really would work with the Horton Heat style. So it's it's an outlet for me to get that out of myself. It realistically is more of a recording project. We play a handful of shows a year, mostly, in the region around Dallas, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Houston, Austin, like that kind of thing. Never any further than that, but it's kind of like a punk rock Bruce Springsteen type situation. It's kind of how I write.
I couldn't even. That's the best explanation I think I've ever heard of a band. It's the Boss if he did punk.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of that kind of style. It's definitely a punk rock band, but it's it's kind of got that Americana vibe. They're story songs, and I could take it away and play them just on an acoustic guitar, and they might be more country-ish that way. But it's always kind of been my thing, is like the alt country kind of vibe.
Yeah, I call it the alternative. I got into that stuff pretty heavy about 2 decades ago, I guess. And that's where we were talking about Jesse. That's where I met Jesse. And I love playing it. It's such, it's fun to play. It doesn't demand too much, and it's just busy enough, I guess, as a drummer, it'll keep you, where you have to pay attention to it. You're not just going through the groove, I guess. Right.
Yeah. And, it's got, it's kind of an Americana thing. So, it's emotional. It's got, it's lots of tension and release. And, I love songwriter music. I love writing songs. Like in where I'm at right now in my rehearsal space, I've got a little recording rig in here. And so I, constantly demoing songs or, writing stuff and recording it. And
are you a prolific writer?
I write a lot, but not as much as I probably should. Probably about 2011, 12, I had a record sit in the top 100 on the Americana charts for about 7 months, and so I was touring that really, really heavy. I got some pretty big support from guys like Ray Wiley Hubbard and the scene. I did shows with those guys, and they kind of let me ride their coattails a little bit. And that's kind of where that whole thing started. But I had management, I had an agent, all that kind of stuff. And man, they were kind of running me in the ground. It was I was on the road about 200 days out of the year.
Oh, wow.
They weren't all great gigs, what I mean? And, I remember I finished, it was in December one year. I finished my tour, and I came home, and I called the band guys. I was like, look, dudes, I love you, but we're just done. This is done. I called my agent and my manager, fired them right before Christmas, and sat dormant for about a year and a half. And that's when I got into doing kind of the behind the scenes crew work stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you can actually make money in this business.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
guy that
I
you're
did. I did that for a while. I tapped for a while, so yeah, I totally get that. Um,
yeah.
well, what's your have you kind of the people I've had on before, we've always talked about like how you how you start, like your setup when you start compared to what you are, the way you play now. For example, when I first started, I was a big Steve Smith fan. I've said it on here every time, I think. But I wanted like six toms in the front, and China's
Yeah.
facing me, and and just look like a big, metal hairband sort of drum set. Now I'm just like, man, give me two cymbals, one up, one down, I'm good. Sort of
Yeah.
thing. Has your change system setup changed or
Not at all. I've been a 4-piece kit guy since the very beginning, and I still am. One up, one down, two crashes, ride,
yep.
hats. Like that's always been the thing, and it's never changed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
who influenced you? Was it someone like John Bonham aside from Dave Grohl? Was it
uh,
mostly Grohl that you got that from?
a lot of Dave Grohl, but like also like Charlie Watts has always been one of my favorite drummers. Max Weinberg is one of my favorite drummers.
Yeah,
A lot of the in the like that whole '90s Orange County skate punk thing when that happened, like a lot of those guys, Smelly from NoFX, like massive influence on me as well.
yeah,
They were all 4-piece kit guys, and that's just kind of where it landed, man. Like I'm like, now if I sit down behind a buddy's kit and it's all crazy, I'm like, man, this is way too much for me,
right.
But then they sit down at my kit and they're like, there's not enough going on here for me, you know what I mean? So
Right.
yeah,
That's,
no, it's always been that way.
there was a story that went around back when Stan Lynch was playing with Tom Petty, and there was somebody, I can't remember who it was, but they sat behind Stan Lynch's kit, and they were like, "Man, this is the biggest piece of junk I've ever." Like there was duct tape on it, and there was like things, like rigged. He had things like wired together, But I mean, that guy was he's a phenomenal drummer. He's such an
Yeah,
in the pocket sort of drummer, like what
sure.
you're talking about. Just Phil Rudd, just very basic. Did what was asked of him, and that was it. You know,
Yeah.
and you talk about Charlie Watts. I saw him with the Stones here, and I did security at the show, and we were there for a sound check. And let me tell you, that guy. People make fun of him the way he plays with the Stones. That guy's a player,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
a total
Yeah.
drummer.
Yeah.
Especially if you listen to his jazz albums he's got out, a couple of
Yeah.
those. That guy's a player, man. Don't sleep on him if you
Yeah,
want to
definitely
listen to
not.
somebody. So, well,
And had such
let's
interesting style too, like never shall hats and snare meet. You know what I mean? Like it was like,
right.
you know what I'm saying? Like it
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah, yeah.
watch and play.
What was funny was during the sound check, he puts a china for his
Yeah.
crash, and
Upside
it was funny because he was like hitting this one china, and then he looked over, and the tech came back with another china, and it looked exactly the same. And I'm standing on the side of the stage going, "They're the same symbol." And he just would
Yeah.
swap it out, and he made the guys change them out a couple times, but it was just he was going back and forth between the two symbols. They were both chinas, they were like 16, 18-inch chinas, and it was like, how can I can't hear the difference, but I guess it's a preference thing.
Yeah.
um, so do you have any what is your have you stuck with like one brand of, we were talking about cymbals earlier, have you stuck with like one brand of cymbal, one brand of drums? Talk a little bit about that.
Not I've been a Zildjian guy for a long time, so that's stuck. So right now in my touring kit, I'm into bigger cymbals and kind of smaller drums. So like my hats are 14. I guess it would be by weight because they're from the 60s. They're vintage Zildjian hats, but I don't know what the weight is. But they're really dark sounding. They've got a nice like chink to them. They're great. But then my crashes are a custom, so it's let's see, 19, 20, 20, and then 21-inch sweet ride.
Oh, okay. What
But on
about your
my
drums?
They are 1968 Slingerlands.
Oh wow. Okay.
That's the kit that I'm playing right now. I had some Ludwig, like newer Ludwig custom maples before that. But these drums have just like kind of a mojo of their own, man. Like they're, the kick is 20 by 14, 12-inch rack, and then a 15 floor tom.
Okay.
Kind of interesting.
Where did you get them? Were they locally sourced?
Yeah, I found them on Marketplace, and this dude had where his wife had posted them. They were, it was an older couple. They were trying to downsize to move to an apartment or something. So I went out there and looked at them, and the wife was kind of beating me up about the price, and I was like, yeah, it's a little more than I want to pay for these. So the dude follows me out to my car. He goes, "Look, man, are you going to sell these?" I was like, "No, dude, I'm going to play them." He was like, "Okay, well, how about this number?" And I was like, "Okay, you got a deal." So
that's awesome.
And so he bought them brand new in 1968.
Oh wow!
So,
okay,
yeah, kind of a cool find.
Yeah. How were the bearing edges? Were they still in good shape?
All good. Yeah, all good, man. With those what are they called, the stick saver, rims on them.
Yeah. I've got a snare that has that. It's I think it's a 68, 67, something like that.
Yeah.
That's got that. I got it from Donnie Wynn that played with Robert Palmer. I bought it from Donnie years ago. I've had it forever, but it's my favorite snare, man. It's 5x14. God, that thing, man. It's been into everything I've ever done.
I've got a 5x14 Superphonic from the mid '60s. It's a great snare drum, but it's in fact it's sitting right here next to me. I don't take it out on the road anymore.
What kind of snare you play with your touring kit?
I've got it's basically Pork Pie's version of a Black Beauty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't remember what they call it, but it's a 6.5 by 14. It sounds great. It's the price point. If one of our crew guys left it somewhere, I wouldn't cry about it. I could just go get another one. I do like it. It sounds consistent, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean it's you like what you like. It's like going back to the Charlie Watts thing with the China. Who knew that China's had different sounds? What kind of heads are you running on those things?
All Remo. I do coated Emperors on the top, clear ambassadors on the bottom, Emperor X on the snare.
Oh, okay.
And Power Stroke 3 on the kick.
That's cool. So are you using a double kick? I mean, a double kick pedal?
No, single. I'm the first drummer to play a single kick pedal. Yeah.
Really? Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, because I remember the times I've seen him, he's had a guy that's played a double kick pedal with him. Yeah. Have you always played a single kick?
No, I played a double kick for a while when I was a little bit younger, but it kind of all came back to I just feel more comfortable on a single kick.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I when the DW 9000 came out, I got one, and I was like, this is great. It feels good, but like it's just kind of too much. You know what I mean? So I went back to the 5000, the tried and true, man. Because everywhere has one. Like if I fly somewhere, like they all have one. They're all pretty consistent. But yeah, I growing up though, like going back to jazz band, there was other dudes in there, and it was several cats that played in praise and worship bands, but predominantly black churches, and everything's in cut time, and so it's almost like the drumming is very punk rock, you know what I mean? But they
really is.
Know that it's all cut time and really kicking a bunch of doubles, and so I learned from these dudes how to kick really fast doubles with just a single pedal, and that's always kind of been my thing. So a lot of the stuff that the previous drummers played with a double pedal, I'm kicking with the single pedal, you know what I mean?
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
Not a whole lot of stuff that because there's never anything that's just running them for metal style or anything. It's just a lot of fast and I'm pretty comfortable with just kicking that with one foot. So
yeah, I don't think Bales of Cocaine needs a double
no.
kick. Needs a double kick on, So, well, what's your plan? What's going on in the future? What's happening aside from the touring? Are you recording with your band, or what's going on there?
Yeah, I got recording with my guys. I'm finishing up a record right now. So hopefully that's done by the end of the summer. We're going to press a 12-inch for that one. And then Horton Heat's starting a new record. We're 3 songs into that. And hopefully that's done by, fall-ish. And then a ton of touring, man. That's the thing about Horton Heat is this machine never stops.
Yeah.
We're playing probably about 130 shows a year, every year, all over the place. I mean, it just never stops.
Yeah, he's always out, it seems like. Well, what about any sort of like, I don't know, suggestions, tips, tricks that you would offer maybe a new drummer or even an older drummer that you've learned through the years?
Man, my biggest advice that I tell people all the time is just don't sit dormant for too long, man. If you don't use it, you lose it. So,
right.
Keep playing, like never stop. Cause I mean, even if I'm off the road for a month, like I'm still playing every day. Like I come here, my studio is about 10 minutes from my house. And so it kind of makes me feel like I'm going to the office, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I come here and I play every day, just about. So, just don't stop. Grind.
Do you ever find yourself playing along with albums and that sort of thing, or do you still do that?
I haven't done that in a really long time, man. I probably should get back into doing that. I used to love doing that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Crank up a CD and play along with it for hours. And man, my parents were super cool about letting me do that. Like until I can't even. If one of my kids wanted to play drums until 1 o'clock in the morning, I would be like, no, this isn't happening. But my parents were super cool about me doing that.
I was kind of similar to you. I started out on guitar and went to drums. Just a friend of mine's band needed a drummer. And I lied. I was like, oh, I'll play drums, and went home and learned playing air drums, like you're talking about, like playing on pillows, and kind of came down to muscle memory. And then I'd get behind a kit. I knew where to go and how to get there. But yeah, I still play because I love music, and there's song like Social D, for example. Man, I'd love to be in that band. I'd love to play behind them, and I still play along with a lot of their songs and Bad Religion and, all that sort of stuff, all that OC stuff, like you were talking about earlier, all the skate rock stuff. So, well, man, we're coming up on time. I appreciate it. I know it was kind of short notice again. Where can we find you social media wise?
Oh man, at all the spots, Jonathan Jeter on Facebook, Jonathan Jeter 13 on Instagram. There's plenty of YouTube stuff. I even have a TikTok page that I don't post to ever, but somebody told me I had to have that, so I did it. But mostly Instagram.
I think I came up. You came up as like accounts you should know, or I think yours came up on TikTok the other night. I fall down rabbit holes of conspiracy theories, and I love seeing that stuff. It's so funny. So anyway, all right, Jay, I appreciate it. JJ, Jonathan Jeter, appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for coming on. Like I said, I know it's short notice, but yeah, I really appreciate it.
Well, hit me up next time you turn through and come out. Let's hang.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, even if you guys make it over to Atlanta, I'll head over. I go over there for shows all the time. So
I think we'll be there early next month. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah.